So, Simon, I am so looking forward to this masterclass today because energy is it's like an elixir. It's like the fountain of youth. It's like Indiana Jones. If he'd have thought of it, it's what he would have been searching for. Tell us how we can get more energy and how we can keep it.
Definitely. I mean, you and I can feel it. When somebody exudes energy, it is infectious. When you enter their field, you're just drawn to them, you're attracted to them, you're magnetized to them. And so we all know it intellectually, but few of us actually understand it from a practical sense. So if you practice yoga, you will probably call it prana. If you're from my Chinese culture, you will call it chi. If you are a fan of the Star Wars film franchise, you will call it the Force. Now, whatever you describe it as, we are talking about the same thing, which is energy as a life force. And for us to get more of it, we have to build a better relationship with it. And for me, one of the fastest ways to get that energy is to address your physical health. We all know we have to move our body, to get exercise, to get a bit of energy into our system. Yet the motivation to do so isn't always there. But I promise you that whenever you finish doing some form of exercise or workout, you never regret it. You may not want to do it at the beginning, but once you've done it, you're so glad that you did. And for me, that's one of the first ways that we can build a solid foundation of energy that helps us become our most productive selves, but also follow through with the things that we told ourselves we were going to do.
So do you think that that's because our attitude towards moving our body has changed in really quite a negative way over the past few decades? Because it's seen as something that it's got to be punishing. You're doing it to lose weight. You're doing it to look a certain way, and it's actually all about the things that moving your body should not be about. Moving your body should be, yeah, you push it to a point that you can feel that it's strenuous or make you sweat, but actually it should be an enjoyable experience. We've taken the pleasure out of it.
Definitely, definitely. And I think what happens is that when we associate pain with something, what happens is we don't want to do it. We want to do it less. And when we measure our journey against metrics such as what am I going to lose? I'm going to lose weight, or I want that six pack, or I want those muscles. What happens is that we forget that the true motivator is the feeling that we get inside. If we simply move our body to feel good, then what happens is we want to do more of it. But if we start to measure our progress against, well, I don't have this, or I don't have that, or I haven't lost this, what happens is that we can be very quickly disillusioned by the process. It's why many people start the new year with a resolution of wanting to get healthier. And then they get to February or March and they look at the mirror and say, I don't have my six pack. I don't have those muscles. I might as well give up. And so they give up way too soon. But if we start to embrace it as part of a healthy lifestyle, because it makes us feel good, it makes us feel better about ourselves. It makes us feel in a better and more powerful state to approach whatever challenges the day throws at us. Then what happens is we start to enjoy it. We associate pleasure with it. And so I think it does need a bit of a reframe so that we see it as something that we enjoy rather than something, as you said just now, Andrea, something that is punishing.
And I think it's fascinating as well because as a culture, particularly in Western culture, you're rewarded for putting yourself through pain. You're rewarded for and applauded for staying at your desk longer than anyone else, for talking about how difficult a process was. People don't look kindly on someone who skips along and says, "No, actually, I really enjoy what I do," or I don't, pump iron at the gym. Actually, I go to a really funky dance class and do something that's really energizing and really lots of fun. So if we can flip our mindset in terms of moving our body into something that is for our mind, not just the outward appearance. And obviously, this Girl is on Fire, we refer to it as a gym for the mind because it's the same sort of mindset of you you are what you consistently do. If you consistently do things to make you feel good, then it makes sense that you will start to feel good. And it's the same with your body as well. If you move your body in an energetic way and do it from the mindset of I'm doing this to mentally help myself feel better, it's incredible how we move away from this idea of that it has to be a punishment. No, it can be a joy.
It's so true, Andrea. And It's not just with exercise, I think it's with any path, is that if it feels like a chore, then you're simply not going to be consistent with it. You're not going to adopt it as a habit. But if you can make the process fun and enjoyable, then what happens is that actually it excites you. You see it as a game. And so if you approach exercise as something that is fun, or even how could you make it fun? Like it could be dancing for you, it could be swimming, it could be mountain climbing. It doesn't have to be just going to the gym. You know, in the very first chapter of my book, Andrea, I share a story from Sophie Radcliffe, who hated the gym. And so what she did is she went outside. You know, she rode bikes, she climbed mountains, she did these adventure expeditions, and she did those things because that felt more natural to her. And so it's really about not conforming to how other people see you should exercise, but what feels good for you. What would feel good for you? And there is so many things that you can do in terms of moving your body. It doesn't have to be one or the other. You get to choose. And when you can choose what makes you feel good, then that's when you start to feel good outside. Again, as you said, Andrea, just now, it starts inside of us. You can't feel good outside until you first feel good inside.
I think as well, the reason I'm smiling so much is because, talking about taking it outside and going for a walk and climbing and doing all this sort of thing, what we forget is the reason that we're all channeled and funneled into this whole idea of it has to be a gym or a certain exercise bike it all comes down to money. Someone is trying to sell you something. So as soon as you go, oh my God, of course. It's all about making money. Put that to one side and think, look at me. What do I enjoy? And screw everybody else in terms of trying to make money for it. Do what makes you happy. But we never think of it that way because we all kind of have this, and it's understandable. It's totally understandable. We have a herd mentality of we want to conform. We want to feel part of a community, and also we don't want to be seen as too sort of out there compared to everyone else. So if everyone's latest thing is a bike or Feel the Burn with Jane Fonda back in the 80s or whatever it was, we will go along and do that. But actually, just stop for a minute. Just remember, the reason you're being pushed all these things is it's because someone wants to make money out of you. If you enjoy it, awesome, but don't feel like it's something that you have to do. So you mentioned that you enjoy going to the gym and exercising. What do you say to your clients if it's something that maybe using their physicality in a way to help them to energize mentally and in other ways? What do you recommend to them?
Sure. So for me, there's three fundamental building blocks when it comes to physical energy. The first we've touched on is exercise. And with regards to that, it's just simply understanding, well, how can you move your body in a way that works for you? And again, as we noted, that could be a variety of different activities. The second is, well, how can you make sleep, which I think we tend to sacrifice very quickly on the altar of trying to be more productive? How can you embrace sleep as a way that is more enjoyable so that you can wake up with the ability to focus on what matters most? And then the third part is really to understand the role of your diet. You know, it's not just about what we feed our mind through what we read, who we listen to, who we follow on social media, but it's also what we feed our bodies. And that contributes a lot to our energy. If you're feeding yourself junk, then of course, how can you perform better than junk? It's like Arsene Wenger once said, eat a sticky toffee pudding, you perform on the pitch like a sticky toffee pudding. And so what we want to do is bring an element of balance and moderation into the way we consume food. So for me, that is always the foundational building blocks of energy. And then once we got the physical side in place, what happens is that we can then tap into the other areas, the mental, the emotional, and the spiritual. And for me, once you start to put these things together, that's how we can unleash our most creative and energetic self.
I like to see it as a sort of like a footstool. So I picture it as sleep, movement, and food are the kind of the legs that keep the stool upright. And every now and again it'll go a bit wobbly. And for me, having that picture in my head of why am I feeling a bit out of sorts? Do you know what? It's because I'm not getting enough sleep. Or let's be honest, your diet isn't that great. Or you're not moving your body, not in a punishing way, but just to stretch. For me, I get super clunky, so I need to sort of stretch. And I think if you visualize those as just like as legs to a stool, when you start feeling wobbly, it's because one of your legs of your stool is out of balance. And it absolutely comes down to those three things that you said. And we all know in ourselves, we can, it's not rocket science. We can think, I have been going to bed. I have been. I've been doing it myself recently. Nick and I are obsessed with Ozarks, and we've been watching Ozark until 11 o'clock. Okay, that's not hugely late, but it's late for us. So it ends up we go to bed too late, and so we're tired the next day. So, but we know what's causing it, and we've only got 2 episodes left, so we'll be fine by tonight. But as long as you know it and recognize it, it's all good. Because the thing to bear in mind as well is we are living our real life in the real world. We are not living in isolation, and as long as we know what it is that we want to achieve and the energy levels that we want to have, and life we want to live, as long as you have a fluidity about it. Rigidity is the killer of joy. Have a fluidity about it.